My name's Nathan, I'm 28, and until about 2 weeks ago, I thought my family actually liked having me around. I'm not saying we were picture perfect or anything. We had our share of awkward silences and occasional backhanded comments at dinner, but I honestly thought we were okay. Not close, but okay. I was the middle kid between two sisters. Jenna, the oldest at 31, and Liv, the youngest, still in college at 21. I was the one who moved out early, worked through college, started my own small business, and didn't ask for much. I was never the favorite, not by a long shot. That title's been glued to Jenna since birth. Always the overachiever, always the one mom bragged about to her friends like she was some kind of investment that paid dividends in wedding photos and Instagram likes. But still, I showed up. I sent gifts. I chipped in for holidays. I was part of things. Or so I thought. A few months ago, Mom floated the idea of a family reset vacation. Something warm, something international, her words. She said it was time to reconnect, that we'd all been drifting apart and needed to make memories while we still could. I rolled my eyes when she said that, but agreed anyway. I even offered to help with the planning, find group rates, figure out logistics. But Jenna stepped in, of course, with her spreadsheet and her 5-step itinerary. Let me handle it, she said with that perfectly controlled smile she always uses when she's about to bulldoze your idea. So I let her, because that's what I always do. Weeks passed, then months. Every time I asked about the trip, it was still in the works. Jenna claimed the travel agent was slow. Liv said she was waiting on her spring schedule to drop. Mom said the passports were being checked. And then, out of nowhere, Jenna texted me that the whole thing was being postponed. Something about airline strikes or new COVID requirements in the country we were supposed to go to. It's a mess, she wrote. We'll reschedule once everything calms down. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? Sure, something in me felt off. There was no official group chat about it. No cancellation email, no refund chatter. But I didn't push. I figured life got in the way. Then Saturday rolled around. I was in line at Target of all places, arms full of frozen meals and paper towels, when my phone buzzed. Instagram. A new story. Jenna had posted a boomerang from an airport lounge. Her manicured nails holding a mimosa, a fancy suitcase in the background. The caption read, "Finally, family reset begins now, #blessed." My heart sank, but I told myself maybe it was something else. Maybe she meant her little family, her husband and kid. Maybe Mom and Liv weren't there. Then Liv posted a selfie. Sunglasses, boarding pass, neck pillow. Ready for the chaos, LOL, she captioned it. In the reflection of her glasses, I could literally see Jenna posing with Mom in the background. I just stood there, frozen in the checkout line, letting the guy behind me sigh in irritation as I stared at my screen. They went without me. I didn't say a word. Not to Jenna. Not to Liv. Not even to Mom. I paid for my stuff, drove home in silence, and sat in my apartment for hours just replaying it in my head. The months of "we'll see," the fake airline excuse, the silence, it wasn't an accident. It wasn't a scheduling thing. They deliberately excluded me. They lied. And then had the nerve to post about it like I didn't exist. It wasn't just the trip. It was the culmination of everything. Every time I'd been the backup plan, the extra seat, the one asked to chip in last minute but left out of the planning. I thought of Christmas 2 years ago, when they all coordinated matching sweaters without telling me. Or Jenna's baby shower where my name wasn't even on the program, despite buying half the decorations. Or the time I paid for Mom's car repairs, and she told everyone it was a miracle. Her favorite mechanic gave her a discount. I could go on, but I won't, because by then, something inside me had already clicked. I didn't cry. I didn't get angry, not in the way you might expect. What I felt was colder, sharper. It was clarity. It was the quiet, calm realization that they didn't think I'd ever say anything, that I'd just swallow it again. So I decided to make sure that this time, they'd remember. I waited. Not for long. Just until I saw the next post. Jenna tagging the hotel. A beach resort. One I recognized because I'd researched it back when I still thought I'd be going. Their check-in photos were all smiles and tropical drinks. Mom had a sun hat on that I bought her last year. Jenna's kid was building a sandcastle in the background. Liv was stretched out on a lounge chair with a book she once borrowed from my place and never returned. They looked happy, relaxed, unbothered, as if I'd never existed. That's when I logged into something they'd all forgotten about. See, A few years back, when we were planning a Christmas trip that never happened, long story, I'd booked everyone airline accounts with my business travel points. I was working with a vendor at the time who offered package perks for group accounts, free checked bags, automatic upgrades, and access to a shared dashboard to view itinerary info. I managed the whole thing. None of them ever changed their passwords. And for some reason, Jenna never unlinked her hotel app from our shared email either. Rookie mistake. So I spent that Saturday night going through every detail, flight numbers, room bookings, restaurant reservations. And I found just the right thing. Let's just say, by the time they landed, the surprise was waiting. And within an hour of touchdown, my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Jenna, missed call. Liv, text. Are you serious right now? Mom, voicemail. The tone? Not exactly beachy. But I didn't answer. Not yet. Because I wanted them to sit in it first. I wanted the silence to feel personal. I wanted them to wonder what else I knew. I wanted to give them time to realize exactly what they'd done. I didn't answer that first night. Not the second either. My phone was a mess of notifications, missed calls, voicemails, increasingly frantic texts. It started with confusion. Jenna, something's wrong with the hotel reservation. Call me. Then Liv chimed in. Did you cancel the spa booking? They said our appointment's gone. That was followed by Mom's classic passive-aggressive flair. I don't know what's going on, but this is not the time for your games, Nathan. As if I was the one playing games. As if being lied to and excluded was just something I should quietly accept with a nod and a smile. By the morning of day 3, things escalated. Jenna left a voicemail that began politely. Look, we can talk about this like adults. But by the end, she was snapping that I had ruined everything, and that her son had cried when they had to leave the resort early. That made me pause. Not because I felt guilty, but because that kid deserves better than to be used like a guilt prop in his mother's tantrums. Let me back up and explain what exactly happened. Once I had access to their itinerary, I noticed something. They hadn't paid in full. The room was under Jenna's name, but the final charge hadn't hit yet. It was one of those pay-at-check-in deals. Same with the airport shuttle and the spa appointments. Normally, that would be fine, but since Jenna had never updated her profile, all of those bookings were still visible on the dashboard linked to my business email. And, more importantly, so was the cancellation button. I didn't nuke everything. I'm not a monster. I left the first night alone. I even let them enjoy their airport shuttle. But once I saw them smugly posing with drinks by the infinity pool and laughing in matching swimwear, I clicked cancel on night 2 through 5. Hotel policy. Free cancellation up to 24 hours before check-in. I was just within the window. They weren't charged, but they also weren't allowed to stay. By the time they came back from dinner that night, the front desk was waiting with confused smiles and news that their remaining nights had been canceled by the original party. Jenna threw a fit. I know, because the receptionist emailed me, not her, to confirm the cancellation due to the conflicting information provided by the guests. I could picture it perfectly. Jenna demanding an upgrade. Mom trying to leverage, I'm a mother, energy. Liv rolling her eyes while pretending not to be involved. They scrambled for an alternate place to stay. I checked their travel log again the next morning. Sure enough, they'd rebooked at a budget hotel farther inland. Not quite the luxury beach escape they'd envisioned. And the cherry on top? They lost their spa booking, something I knew Mom had been bragging about for weeks. I didn't even need to cancel it. I just logged into the system and rescheduled it for the day after they left. They showed up to the spa expecting facials and foot rubs, and instead got told they'd already enjoyed their treatment yesterday at 11 a.m. You'd think that would be the end of it, but it got worse. Because I also remembered something no one else did. Jenna had been using my company's travel rewards card for all her planning expenses. A perk I'd given her years ago so she could help coordinate a birthday trip for Mom. She never gave it back. I let it slide. But this time, when I saw thousands in resort and flight charges pending under my business ledger, after they lied to my face, I flagged them. Not fraud. I'm not trying to ruin my credit. But I marked them as unauthorized employee charges and sent a formal inquiry to the rewards vendor, which froze the points used for their upgrades and pulled the lounge access privileges. That's why I started getting texts like, the lounge rejected us, and they say we don't have travel status anymore. And finally, Nathan, what did you do? I still hadn't responded. I wasn't trying to be cruel, but I was trying to make a point. They'd excluded me, lied to me, used the resources I'd provided, then had the gall to rub it in my face online like I was some stranger who didn't matter. Like I wasn't family. Like I'd never been. And for once, I wanted the silence to speak louder than any apology they were rehearsing. But then Liv called again. This time, I answered. Her voice cracked before she even got the first sentence out. Why did you do that? She asked. We didn't think you'd, care that much. That hit me in a way I didn't expect. I care, I said. I always have. That's the whole problem. She was quiet for a beat, then said, It wasn't my idea. Jenna planned the whole thing. I just thought, maybe, you'd bail anyway. Is that what you think of me? I asked. That I just vanish? She didn't answer that part. She just sighed and said, Mom's furious. I almost laughed. Of course she is. The spa didn't have cucumber water ready. Liv didn't laugh. She said you always take things too far. I paused, then asked, and not inviting your own son to a family vacation? That wasn't too far. Another long silence. Then she whispered, I didn't think it'd hurt you this much. And there it was. They didn't think I'd care. That I mattered enough to be hurt. That excluding me wasn't cruelty. It was convenience. Because I'd always played it cool. Always been the one to smooth things over. Make the payment, send the card, show up with the gift, shrug off the slight. Not anymore. Not this time. The silence was heavy again. Then she said, Jenna wants to call you. I smiled, but it wasn't kind. Tell her I'm busy. Maybe we'll reschedule. Once everything calms down. And I hung up. The calls didn't stop. Not after Liv. Not after that short, clipped conversation that told me everything I needed to know. Over the next day, my phone became a war zone of passive-aggressive damage control. Jenna texted me paragraphs that started off diplomatic, like she was trying to negotiate a ceasefire, but then dipped into snide territory so fast I had to read some of them twice just to believe her nerve. One of them actually said, You made your point. Congratulations. Now can you stop acting like a child so we can enjoy what's left of this trip? Acting like a child. That's rich, coming from someone who orchestrated a fake cancellation, then posed on the beach like nothing happened. But the tone? That was vintage Jenna. Tight smile, underlying venom. Always trying to control the narrative. Always pretending it was a misunderstanding when it was just her being cruel with too much polish. Mom's messages were different. Short. Cold. I could practically hear her voice through the punctuation. This wasn't the way to handle things. You've embarrassed us. You've made a scene. Funny how when they exclude me, it's just how things worked out. But when I push back, suddenly I'm embarrassing. Suddenly I'm the one making a scene. But what finally got me wasn't a message from Jenna or even Mom. It was an email. From the hotel. Subject line, Incident Report, Billing Dispute. Inside was a short note from the hotel manager saying there had been an issue with the room charges and that the guest on file, Jenna, had refused to provide an alternate payment method when the card on file was declined. The same card, of course, that had been flagged and frozen the moment I reported unauthorized use. Apparently, after I canceled the stay, the resort had tried to reauthorize their new booking using the linked account. When it bounced, Jenna had tried using Mom's card, which was flagged too, because Mom, naturally, had tied her own resort account to the same travel dashboard I set up years ago. These people never changed a thing. Now, the resort was requesting direct contact from the primary account holder, aka me. They wanted a resolution before escalating the matter. And that's when it hit me. They were still hoping I'd clean it up, still assuming I'd fix it, the way I always had. For years, I've been the one they quietly relied on. The one who made the phone calls, handled the refunds, paid the overages, caught the mistakes they didn't even know they were making. I've bailed them out of so many messes I lost count. But this time, I wasn't going to pick up the pieces. I forwarded the email to Jenna. No note. No explanation. Just the forwarded message, subject unchanged. Within 10 minutes, she called me. I let it ring. Then again. Then again. I finally answered on the fourth ring. Her voice was clipped. No hi. No how are you. Just, you've made your point. This has gone way too far. Not nearly far enough, I said. There was a long pause. Then she said, You want an apology? Fine. You should have told us you felt excluded. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the phone like it was infected. I didn't feel excluded, Jenna. I was excluded. You lied to me. We didn't lie. Plans changed. You said the trip was canceled. They were, she snapped. We rebooked. You rebooked the same resort, same week, same people, without me. That's not rebooking. That's rerouting the group to leave me out. Another pause. Then, quieter. You overreacted. I laughed. Not bitterly. Not loudly. Just the kind of laugh that comes when someone gives you exactly what you expect from them. Nothing more. You didn't even think I'd notice, I said. That's the part that stings. Jenna's voice dropped into that condescending calm she always used when she wanted to sound like the bigger person. You have your own life, Nate. You've always been distant. I figured you'd be fine with it. There it was. The rewrite. The gaslight. Blaming me for their exclusion. I didn't even argue. I am fine, I said. I just wanted to make sure you weren't. She scoffed. So this was revenge. No, I said. It was balance. She tried again. You could have just talked to us. You mean like how you talked to me about the trip? Click. I ended the call. And that, I thought, would be the last of it. But it wasn't. Because the next day, Mom showed up at my apartment. Unannounced. In person. I heard the knock and checked the peephole, expecting maybe a package, maybe a neighbor. But it was her. Standing there with her purse clutched tight, sunglasses on even though it was cloudy, jaw locked like she was preparing to testify in a murder trial. I didn't open the door. Not immediately. I just stood there, watching her through the peephole, thinking about all the years I bent over backward trying to earn a place at the table. Now the table was flipped, and suddenly I was the one with the closed door. She knocked again. Firmer. Nathan, she said, voice muffled. This is ridiculous. Still, I didn't answer. Because I wanted her to feel it. That cold weight of being left out. Not out of cruelty, but out of consequence. And that's when she said something that made me finally step back from the door. Not open it, just step back, as if I'd been hit. She said, I told Jenna we should have invited you. She said you'd just ruined the trip. That was it. No apology. No, I'm sorry we hurt you. Just confirmation that they'd debated my worth and lost. I didn't open the door. Not then. Not after she said that. I heard the words, she said you'd just ruined the trip, and felt them settle somewhere beneath my ribs. It wasn't even the cruelty that stung the most. It was the fact that Mom didn't deny it. She didn't say Jenna was wrong. She didn't even try to soften the blow. Just stood there, half scolding me like I was the one being unreasonable. I waited until I heard her footsteps retreat, the faint sound of heels echoing down the hall. Only then did I let out the breath I'd been holding. It wasn't relief. It was something heavier, like a final weight settling where hope used to live. For the next couple of days, I kept my head down. I went to work, I cooked my own meals, and I stayed off social media. I didn't want to see beach photos or passive-aggressive captions. I didn't want to see Liv posting sad quotes or Jenna posting filtered family selfies pretending everything was normal. I knew they'd spin it, that they'd tell everyone I lashed out or overreacted, that I'd sabotaged the trip for no reason. But deep down, they knew the truth. And now, so did I. A week later, I got a formal letter from the airline's loyalty program. My account had been permanently closed due to excessive flagging of legitimate charges. Jenna must have filed some sort of complaint to protect her status. I shrugged. I didn't care. That program was only ever valuable to them, not me. I traveled alone when I did it all. I didn't need upgrades or lounge access. I just needed peace. And I had it. For the first time in years, I wasn't tangled in group chats or birthday reminders or emergency last-minute requests for money or, can you call and fix this for us? Favors. My phone was quiet. My weekends were mine. No guilt-tripped family dinners. No one calling just to check in, but then guilt-tripping me into buying a last-minute wedding gift for a cousin I hadn't seen in 10 years. I thought maybe that would be the end of it, that they'd just let me go. But about 3 weeks later, I got an invitation in the mail, an actual paper envelope, thick cardstock, my name printed in big, sweeping letters. The Wilson family summer celebration, a backyard party, the kind we used to do when I was a kid. Grill out, music, photos under string lights, all smiles and plastic forks and mosquito spray. The card was signed in Jenna's handwriting. Let's put everything behind us. No apology, just reset. Like nothing happened. Like I should just show up, smile, and hand over a tray of deviled eggs. I didn't RSVP. Instead, I did something different. I sent an envelope of my own. Inside, I put photocopies of every receipt from the trip, the canceled hotel booking, the flagged spa appointments, the travel card freeze, and most importantly, A printout of a Venmo request I'd received from Liv last month. $183.47 for that Airbnb. I forgot I still owed you for LOL. On the back of the final page, I wrote, "Forgiveness is free. Access isn't." And I mailed it directly to Mom's house. I didn't hear back. Not for a while. But I didn't expect to. What I did expect, and got, was the ripple. Because 2 weeks after that, my cousin Riley texted me out of nowhere. "Hey man, I don't know what went down, but your mom told grandma you're distancing yourself. She made it sound like you were just going through something." I laughed when I read that. Going through something. As if I hadn't just spent years carrying the emotional labor of an entire family. As if distancing myself was some moody little tantrum, not a deliberate boundary I'd carved out with surgical precision. I texted him back one sentence. I finally started acting like they treated me. He didn't reply, but he didn't need to. The next time a family group photo went up, I wasn't in it. No more awkward cropping. No more, "Oops, forgot to tell you about the dinner." No more pretending. Just a clean break. Months passed. I started spending more time with friends, people who actually listened when I spoke, who invited me to things because they wanted me there, not because they needed something from me. I took a short trip up north by myself. No itinerary, no group texts, no compromise. I booked the cheapest room with my own card and watched the rain fall on a lake while sipping black coffee from a chipped mug. It was the most peaceful I'd felt in years. I don't know if they still talk about me at family gatherings. Maybe they say I cut them off. Maybe they say I overreacted. Maybe they spin it like they tried. But I know better. I know the truth they'll never say out loud. They didn't expect consequences. They expected silence. They expected compliance. And for a long time, that's what I gave them. But not anymore. The next time someone says, "Family is everything," I'll smile and say, "Only if they act like it." Because family isn't just blood and matching t-shirts and group photos. It's loyalty, respect, inclusion. And the moment you make someone feel like a guest in their own family, you don't get to act surprised when they stop coming over. So no, I didn't ruin the trip. They did, when they booked it without me. All I did was make sure the next one came with a cost. And I never looked back. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.